You just pulled into your driveway after a long day. The engine is off. You've been sitting in your car for 10 full minutes, staring at your phone, soaking in the absolute silence before you go inside. You just need a minute to yourself. We all do it. But if you tried to take a minute to yourself for 99% of human history, it wouldn't bring you peace. It would probably get you eaten. For hundreds of thousands of years, the concept of me time simply did not compute. You were born into a tribe of about 30 people, and from your first breath to your last, you were surrounded. So, how did our ancient ancestors handle the overwhelming, non-stop presence of other people? How did they keep secrets, be intimate, or just process their own thoughts? The short answer is, they mastered the art of being invisible in plain sight. The long answer tells us a lot about why modern life feels so exhausting. Let's paint the picture. You are a Paleolithic hunter-gatherer. Your entire world is a nomadic camp. There are no doors to slam, no headphones to put on, and no bathrooms to hide in. If you have an argument with your sibling, the whole camp watches. If you scrape your knee, the whole camp gasps. You share your food, your fire, and your sleeping space. The sensory overlap is absolute. You know what everyone sounds like when they chew, how they breathe when they sleep, and exactly what they smell like. But humans are still humans. We still need moments of intimacy, and we still need a break from the social gaze. To get it, ancient humans relied on something anthropologists call civil inattention. Think of it like being in a crowded elevator. You're 6 inches away from a stranger. You can smell their shampoo. But you stare at the floor numbers, and they stare at their phone. You both collectively agree to pretend the other person isn't there. Ancient humans weaponized this kind of intentional ignorance. If a couple needed to be intimate, they waited for the dead of night. They didn't have a bedroom, but they had the darkness. And the unspoken rule of the camp was simple. If your eyes are closed, you are asleep. Even if you hear something, no, you didn't. It was a cultural force field. Privacy wasn't a physical wall you built out of wood or stone. It was a psychological wall built out of respect and survival. The same went for arguments or personal grief. If someone walked to the edge of the firelight and sat with their back to the group, the tribe understood the assignment. You didn't tap them on the shoulder. You didn't ask if they were okay. You gave them a bubble of invisible space. But they never went too far. And that is the most crucial difference between us and them. Today, we equate privacy with physical isolation. We want a cabin in the woods, a locked door, a private fence. For an ancient human, physical isolation was synonymous with death. If you wandered out of earshot of the camp, you were no longer a person. You were prey. The wilderness belonged to cave lions, dire wolves, and rival groups. To be alone in the woods wasn't a relaxing hike. It was a terrifying vulnerability. In fact, in most ancient cultures, the ultimate punishment wasn't execution. It was banishment. Being forced into permanent privacy was the absolute worst thing that could happen to you. Your identity didn't end at your skin. It extended to your entire tribe. I didn't exist without we. So, how did we get from a communal fire to hiding in our cars in the driveway? It all changed roughly 10,000 years ago with a little invention called agriculture. When we started growing wheat, we had to stay put. When we stayed put, we built permanent structures out of mud and stone. And suddenly, for the very first time in human evolution, architecture created a boundary that didn't require social cooperation. You didn't have to rely on your neighbor to politely look away anymore. You could just build a wall to block their line of sight. Look at Çatalhöyük, one of the world's oldest settlements in modern-day Turkey. Around 9,000 years ago, thousands of people lived there in tightly packed mud brick houses. They didn't even have front doors. You entered through a hole in the roof. But they had distinct, separate living spaces. walls did something profound to the human psyche. They birthed the concept of private property. This is my hearth. These are my tools. This is my space. Fast forward through the centuries. Houses got bigger. Rooms became specialized. By the Victorian era, wealthy families were actively designing homes with separate hallways for servants, so they wouldn't even have to look at the people cooking their food. We took the ancient survival mechanism of a tight-knit tribe and systematically dismantled it, brick by brick, room by room, until we achieved the ultimate modern luxury: total isolation. Which brings us back to today. We have achieved a level of privacy that would be incomprehensible to a Paleolithic human. We have private bedrooms, private bathrooms, private cars, and private screens. We can go an entire week without making eye contact with another human being if we order our groceries online and work from home. We have won the privacy game. And yet, we are in the middle of a global loneliness epidemic. We traded the chaotic, noisy, irritating, beautiful warmth of the human pile for the sterile silence of our own personal boxes. We built walls to keep the world out, but we forgot that those same walls lock us in. For 290,000 years, privacy was an illusion we created for each other out of love and respect. Today, it's a product we buy, and we might just be paying too high a price.